Welcome to In Scope. I'm Stephen Holder. Man, voting season came and went, and per usual, it was very divisive. But this year felt a little different, specifically in the black community, because there was a black woman running, was nominated to run for the Democratic Party. And instantly, when that occurred, there were ideas or anticipations of how people in the community should vote, specifically black men. Yeah, at first I didn't think anything of it. I just, it's election time. Let's do what we do. And a friend of mine made a comment about a week or so after the Democratic National Convention and said, "I think this is going to have a huge impact on black single men and women." And I'm like, I don't see the correlation. I didn't see it right away. But after everything, like leading toward the election, as a matter of fact, there was a specific speech in October that changed the course of everything. The controversy of the black male vote. This is what changed my whole attitude about the election.
Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have, I've got a problem with that, because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Bruh.
Coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now, as that's what being a man is, putting women down, that's not acceptable. That's not, this should be.
Remember that Obama speech about a few weeks ago? It's like, y'all need to do y'all part. You didn't feel there was a part to do?
No, I think that everybody should vote, but whoever they vote for is totally up to them. I think they should vote because the answer is fought for us the right to vote. That's one reason why I do it.
What if somebody chooses not to vote? That's cool too?
Nah.
No?
I don't think it is.
Nah.
I think it's a
I
personal
mean, if you
choice.
don't vote, it's cool, but then don't say nothing about nothing.
Exactly.
Man, you can talk about what the fuck you want to talk about.
Well, I mean, because I thought we were fighting for the right, whether to choose to vote, not to make you vote. Right.
I don't know what they was like, but I ain't walking to Selma for shit. Them niggas walk to Selma. I'm good. I ain't walking to Selma. Shit, I'm fat. I got shit to do.
Man, no.
When I started to be active, politically in terms of voting, to that
Right.
subject. But in the beginning, it was normal for me to be around people. Well, normally, I'll put it that way, I was around people who voted for Democrats.
Right.
And since I was black, and the people that normally always voted that way, I naturally gravitated to that voting.
Right.
I'm going to vote. Who's running? Well, them and this side, that side. I voted for Democrats.
Right.
Because then I didn't have an understanding of the platform at that point in time.
You were just raised to.
Yeah, I was just raised to do that. So there wasn't pressure. Actually, it wasn't pressure at that point.
Of course.
But, once I started to kind of see, and I think I shared it with you, what I saw was a type of spirit.
Right.
You know, and by this time I was probably in my 40s. I saw a type of spirit coming from the Democratic philosophy, party, precepts, whatever you want to call
That
them.
was very familiar.
Yeah, the spirit that I encountered was the same spirit that came from the groups of organizations that support the Democrats. So the groups of organizations that support that party manifested a certain type of spirit toward, to me, that felt like the same kind of oppression that I felt growing up under in the South. But that pressure was normal. I mean, that was normal at that point in time.
Right.
So I grew up in segregation, and I grew up, with people not necessarily telling me audibly that this is your place, this is what you have to do.
Got it.
You're not allowed to do this, but it was a rule of thumb or whatever you want to call it, and I understood it.
Right.
So as I said, it wasn't so much pressure though, but it was normal.
Right.
So people get into positions and situations where they are oppressed,
Right.
but they don't know it.
Well, I feel like most, I guess the stigma is that if you're black, you have to vote Democrat.
Right.
Which, people have their various reasons why they vote and what politicians they follow and things of that nature.
Right.
That's on them. Bar none, if you do, you know what I'm saying, vote for Trump or whatever, I'm probably gonna second guess some things about you. I mean,
Honest. It's honest. I get
to,
you.
to each his own. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I mean, but it's only because, like, if you understand the rhetoric of Trump and you outwardly support that as a black person or a minority in general,
Right.
it poses a lot of questions about you.
Mm.
And because, like, it's a lot of hate within the things he speak about and borderline oppression to a certain extent.
Right. Right. Right.
Like, so as a minority and understanding the struggle that we've had to endure in the United States, like since inception of United States, it's kind of like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But on the other end, it's like, all right, Kamala, like, yeah, she black. So with this current climate, I feel like they like, well, because she's black, you gotta vote for her. Which I
That's literally what I
100%
was
don't agree.
aiming at. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which I 100% don't agree with it. First of all, I vote who the hell the fuck I want to.
Right.
I mean, so let's get that out the door. I personally don't care how people feel about my decision of voting for somebody.
Right.
I'm not voting for Trump. I don't really rock with Camilla either, like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, at the end of the day, for me, it's the lesser of the two evils.
Okay.
That's how.
If let's say for instance, whichever one of these individuals wins, right?
Right.
Let's say for example, because everybody he's the one that everybody talks about, the orange one, right? Let's say he won. He got some some people who vote for him that are black and people get mad, whatever it is, whatever. I won't go
Right.
into the politics. But if they voted for something that they saw that they liked, they weren't worried about how him being there is going to affect other people, that even people that look like us. They're going to look at how it affects them, whether it be their tax bracket, their beliefs, whatever it is. They're voting off of their own best interest. It's
Right.
not a us, it's a them. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when somebody says do what's best for you, they don't really mean it.
So according to this chart from the Peer Research Group, around April of 2024, if people were to vote in April, black men would vote about 77% toward the Democratic Party. And as you'll see in another clip, that trend is very consistent from 1994 till 2023. As you can see here, from 1994, both the Democrat and Republican parties, in terms of black men, have been quite linear with very little dipping and consistency from 1994 to 2023, which leaves the question: what exactly was President Barack Obama talking about when he said he noticed a trend doing something else? So this is what kind of burnt my biscuits. So look, now you see the actual results of the 2024 election, and boom, they follow the exact same trend that as for terms of black male voting that we followed from 1994 till now.
One day later.
In the wake of Donald Trump's historic win, there's a new movement sweeping America. Disappointed women are actually swearing off men.
There's no way I am letting any man near me for the next few years.
They're saying no to dating, no to marriage, no to sex.
Celibacy, at least to me, isn't that hard.
And no to having children.
Like so many other women in America who have been considering trying to get pregnant, I woke up today and said, nope, not anymore.
This woman is actually shaving her head in.
And yes, even though black men voted as projected and as trended for the last 20 to 30 years, there are still groups of black women who are joining the 4B movement as well to protest against the very men that they asked to support them and did support them. Yeah. I'm not really understanding this for myself, but yeah, that's what happened. And yeah, so that leaves the question, what was supposed to happen?
Power to make morons go extinct like dinosaurs. The morons here are just creating mediocrity. They are creating harm to Mother Earth, disrespecting the planet, and they are cancer to the planet. We don't need that, okay? We can live without mediocrity. We can live without the morons, okay? And if you're continuing to procreate with morons, you're just making little morons. We don't need that sugarfoot. Y'all acting like pregnancy is not a high risk as a woman, especially a black woman. You can possibly die from childbirth, and you out here going half on a baby with a moron that hasn't even bought you a ring or signed paperwork to commit their life to you? How silly. But you thinking, oh, he gonna stay because he loved me. He is just talking.
Back in 2019, yeah, they're mad. A lot of women are mad at the results. And they're saying, as you remember the movie what was the movie? Chirac?
It wasn't the fact that it wasn't men voting, it was the damn women didn't vote.
Oh.
It was 50% white women voting for the guys. So why would women be mad?
Statistically, I can't say that. Statistically. So it's only 20% of men
didn't. Right, you're right.
Vote. So what the fuck is they talking about?
Right, exactly.
Like, I remember Dante shared the stats, and it showed that most of us did, like, especially black, voted for.
No, the women didn't vote for the woman.
I'll get you. You good.
Okay. The women didn't. The other women didn't vote for the woman. That was them. That wasn't us. I mean, according to the little stats that I read on the line.
But for months though, they was making it about us.
I was just gonna say.
They were saying that if she didn't win, it was because black men didn't show.
No, I think that was all what they call that fake news stuff.
And even with the results, you shared a clip and showed the result, and they still said, "Well, it's on them." I'm like, wait a minute. So, are you choosing to be mad at us? I don't get it. Like you said,
it sounds like another divisive thing that they're trying to do, separate black men from black women. That's
what Dante said.
Something is psychologically wrong with us as a people.
Wow.
To allow this to keep occurring. And
that people divide us so easily.
And where does it stem from? The Democratic Party?
Oh.
I don't see Republicans talking about it.
Wow.
It's liberal news. But then here it is, because every woman I know voted for the woman. Every woman I personally know
Right.
voted for the woman.
It's so divisive. Look at this shit. We sitting there warm with our black women. Too emotional, man. Black men.
It's too.
They putting their faith in the wrong thing.
Niggas is still slaves.
He put the finger.
That came from the church. Yeah, niggas is still slaves. Niggas are too emotional. Negroes are too emotional.
But they putting their faith in the wrong thing, man. Again.
Well, that's somebody asked the question, what were they expecting either of them to do? Like, what do people expect a president to do? Right.
Savior when they savior to be themselves.
Exactly. I think it's more like a sports game. So you know how you got a certain sports team that you like.
Right.
You got all this faith, they made it to the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden, they lose Super Bowl. It's the same type of feeling. Yeah.
Man. So we felt like we lost the game, is what you're saying. Well, some people, let me say that.
But what was the reward?
I was going to say, what was the goal? What was the reward then?
The same thing when your team wins the Super Bowl.
For like a day or two.
You the Super Bowl champion. You got if they would have won the game, they got 4 years to practice. Say, hey, you know what? We the champions. For
Not even 4 years. Somebody made a joke and said, if Cardi get back with Offset, we gonna forget about all this anyway. Right. So it's almost like we look for sensationalism, and this is just a sensational thing of the moment.
I just think that she would have had a better chance if she would have focused on real problems instead of talking about cleaning greens in the bathtub.
Stop right there. Actually, I want to discuss that. It's interesting to me that as a culture, we haven't fully committed to or decided if we want to be a monolith or not. Meaning, do we want to be identified as a collective or do we want to express individualism? And it's interesting also that when this is brought up, for example, washing greens, cooking chicken, it's expected of you to know how or to enjoy it or to say something positive about it. But the moment that you don't, your black card is in question. And when it came to the vice president running for president, prior to her being selected or nominated, she had a ton of stereotypes thrown at her and being forced in corners to identify with the black monolith, such as, what music do you listen to? Do you eat soul food? People looking at her shoes, people questioning her race and color, all of the above. Yet, as soon as she was nominated, it was as if we were to wash all of that away and to select her. Well, why? Because we identified with her as being black at the convenience of the moment.
Proud, AKA, how do y'all normally greet each other?
With a hug. Not during COVID.
Okay, what do you guys say? What's the little thing you say?
Greetings, soror.
Thank you. I was looking for a ski week, but I'll take it.
You know, when you go through the process of becoming one, then we can have that conversation.
Did you know that you and Snoop Dogg share a birthday?
I did.
Oh. Thing to cook. The people don't know you can slay down in the kitchen.
Yes, I can. A roast chicken. It's kind of my go-to.
Okay. And then best rapper alive.
Tupac.
He's not alive. You say he lives on.
But not alive. I know. I keep doing that.
A social media leech.
On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
It feels like in seconds, she went from a character that nobody gave much attention to us having to get on board with the idea of her being president because she was black and because she was a woman. Going back to the Obama speech, it was almost a tit for tat or silent contract that I didn't even know we signed up for. And I understand there's a sense of unity that, especially for those who are from the civil rights era, Anything black, you just pushed for it with no question. But I think we're in a time now where it's questions, and people want to know, where are we going? I'd like to follow you, but where are you going? Who are you? And there were so many people that badmouthed her and questioned her policies and ideas and flip-flopping. And then the moment she was elected to be the nominee running for president at the DNC, we were to wash all of it away and say, well, you know what, quote, you know what to do. But the truth is, a lot of us didn't sign up for, quote, what to do. There were even discussions where people honestly just wanted to research, and even, again, based on the Obama speech, y'all didn't research like that for me. So he said. And so he's like, I think y'all making up reasons to not pick her because she's a woman. And that's the attitude that was shared in our community. There lies the problem. Sometimes when you become unified, or you become or decide to pursue a monolithic identity, when you don't comply with the general consensus, you are viewed as a villain, especially with social media. And sadly, you have so many people who fell into being a villain and didn't even know. And then there are others who just have a different experience and a different point of view. Why they pushing him? He like, I ain't a part of this.
This shit is all a game, man. You wanna know my honest opinion about it, man?
Right, I do.
I think you need to vote for yourself. I think this whole election or president, I think it's all idol worshiping. I think you shouldn't even worship. You shouldn't worship this body that you're in.
For sure.
You feel what I'm saying? It's all a game to keep you focused on their agenda and keep you focused on your own personal agenda. Keep you outside of that fucking stuff.
But it feels like both sides have an agenda, and you're just a pawn to like get what they need.
That's what we're here to work.
That's what it is. I just talk shit. I don't care either way.
Right.
I haven't voted in 30 years.
Understood.
I don't play the game.
Right.
I talk shit about it,
Yeah.
but I don't play the game. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a choice, right? That's a choice. Because
I'm governed by most definitely by high power.
Yeah.
And it don't matter who was in office before Trump.
Right. What's Obama?
Obama was in office before Trump.
Yeah.
I was doing good. Trump got in office. I was doing good. Whoever in office now, whoever's been in office, I've been doing great because I focused on me and not them. I don't care.
You don't have an allegiance to nobody.
I have an allegiance to the men's barber's lounge. That's my allegiance.
And ultimately to himself.
Yeah, I would say to himself.
To myself.
Right.
Yeah. But if you're talking about like this world shit, my children,
yeah,
the men's barber's lounge.
For sure.
Other than that, I have, hey, how you doing? I respect folks and all that shit. I won't be coming across like I don't give a fuck about shit.
Right.
I don't want to see nobody get fucked up, but sometimes you gotta get fucked up. It's life, not my shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And not even that. I think people enjoy being angry. That's what it is. Like, to be honest, it's almost like an orgasmic feel to debate and argue and all of that.
For a savior, but they looking for the wrong savior.
Society is set up like that. It's set up to be angry now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anger is the new cool shit.
It is. It is.
Negro, being a Negro is the new cool shit. Everybody's angry for what reason, I don't know. So now that's what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? The conscious collective is going to be angry. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So when nobody can come out and say, man, they did this, they did that. Well, you know, it's the opposite side of that shit too.
It is.
You feel what I'm saying? Where
I do.
ain't doing that shit that y'all talking about. And I want to
Come
see
on.
more of the opposite. So fuck what y'all talking about over here. Niggas gonna kill.
But the sad part is, it's like people, if you don't choose a side, you against me too. And that's what this, they're also attacking people who didn't vote.
I know, and that's when I put my lab coat on to be an asshole. And just talk shit.
I didn't vote.
Understood.
The big drama was because of the indoctrination that we don't have for years. It's a lot of people who thought by default, if you vote, you have to vote a certain way.
Yes. Right.
Especially older people. That's what we've been programmed, like, by default, you vote Democrat. But the times have changed and people thinking more independently. They're not just going off what's being told to them.
Wow.
Or you be like the real people and research what's being told.
Come on!
And I came to the Midwest.
Right.
And went to college and graduated graduated there, but I took a manufacturing job.
Yep.
So then I was in the union.
You said UAW?
UAW.
Right.
And again, there wasn't so much of a awareness of the pressure. It was, I guess I ignored it.
Right.
I'm like, well, they're telling me what to do. And I guess they have a reason.
Right.
Good enough reason.
Right.
But as I experienced it more and more, and then experiencing some of the people being able to talk, listen, and even feel the spirit that some of the leaders had, you know, and then I began to be more, you know, having more of a tendency to be on guard about what I accepted from them in terms of what them how they told me that I needed and had to, and even to some degree with threats of violence.
Right, if you don't comply with what they, right.
If you didn't. So then presidential elections came around, and there was a vice president, I can't remember his name, but he came to our local.
Okay.
You know, so obviously
to campaign
and, you know, make sure that we knew who we needed to vote for.
Right.
But when he stood up and started talking, the same spirit I had witnessed from the leaders of the local, that you have to, you better vote this way,
or else.
So if you don't,
something might accidentally happen to you.
And some of the other brothers find out that you're not in solidarity or agreement, you know, and you understand agreement.
I do.
And well, you know, I know you do, but I'm just saying that's what they were doing. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
They put pressure.
It was passive aggressive, but still just as threatening.
Yeah, it's threatening.
And it's threatening your life.
Yeah, and if you have any kind of sense, if your senses are working, you know, as God gave them to you, you know danger.
That's right.
When you're around.
Government affects us more than anything else. Like, and that's something that people don't pay attention to. Like, even if you want a certain person to be in office, your local government dictates a lot of who's going to be in the presidency by the way they vote. Like, and people don't. I mean, they have delegate counts and delegate votes for a reason. Like, and people don't understand that. So that's why it's very hard to even have a conversation with people about politics, because people don't even really realistically understand the system of politics in general, or like. So it's pointless, but I feel like as a black person, people think you're supposed to sway one way, and it's mainly being a Democrat. And there are people who are black Republicans, but it's for a different reason. Like, honestly, most people who are black Republicans operate in a different, how can I say? Money is a little different from the other people.
Fair enough. I can fill in the gap. The reality is we hold each other to silent contracts of compliance and convenience. And be it black men or black women, when somebody does something that we don't want them to do, we hold their identity as ransom. So there's a pressure, especially honestly for black men. If you don't fulfill a particular imagery, you are not considered a, quote, real man. And now you have to either defend or deflect. And sadly, that includes with voting. The narrative was posted. If you don't, as the speech said by President Barack Obama, it sounds to me like y'all are afraid y'all don't want a woman to be president. Some people just wanted to research. Some people didn't like her politics. Some people didn't understand it. Some people just are Republican, or whatever the case is, and there still should be a space of respect, because the truth of the matter is, for the civil rights era, the marches and the protests weren't about people voting as Democrats. It was about black people having the right to vote and not have their lives in danger if they voted. And unfortunately, that's a lesson that we have not only dismissed, but now we are the oppressors toward each other. Once again, it's about the silent contract. If you don't do what I expect of you, or if you don't do what I want you to do, now your identity, your manhood, your womanhood, everything is on the table, and I get to determine if you fulfilled it or not. And so says my collective tribe. In my quasi-controversial opinion, even after doing the recording and I'm doing all the interviews and talking to different people, even outside of the interviews, and some that I'll try to share later on YouTube and clips on TikTok, I hate that as a culture in general, we have become tribalized to do all or none, or pit people against each other, as opposed to embracing the freedoms that you share a planet or a country with people who don't think like you, and letting them exercise the rights and the voting and the views that they possess. I think there's too much antagonizing on all sides, and gloom and doom if you don't do what somebody says. I think there's a huge emphasis on compliance over justice. And it's interesting because a lot of people who are seeking justice for others do it in a sense of power dynamic, the same power dynamic that they speak against or they feel that they're fighting against. So, and I ask people all the time, do you truly want equality, or do you want a power shift? Do you want people to have equal access to doing what they do or what you do? Or do you want to dictate and have an upper hand on how they feel? And to be, and people are very honest when they actually think about it, they'll say power shift. And to be honest, as humans, that's true. We like what we like, and we want others to feel what we feel. And then it becomes a certain tribal validation, and anything outside of that tribal validation is polarized as a villain or an enemy. And unfortunately, we have a lot of that, especially in the African American community. It is what it is. So, in conclusion, I think that taking time to listen to why people think the way they think, why people vote the way they vote, is a step toward a safer and a broader direction of safety, security, and understanding, and looking at things from another scope. I'm Stephen Holder. I'll see you next time.